We're gonna have so much fun today.
Tony, you always say that.
Yeah, but we are.
So excited.
Oh, look at all the pumpkins.
Chris, look at all the animals.
Kind of reminds me of you, Tony.
Thanks, Chris. maze. Let's go to the maze. We have to go to the maze. We have to go to the maze. Come on. Come on. It's gonna be fun. We won't get lost. You cannot. You cannot come to the pumpkin farm and not go to the maze. We'll be fine. I'll hold on to you. Don't be scared. You're with me, Kristen. It's gonna be so much fun.
Good. How are you doing tonight?
Fine.
Prepare for a journey through the maze of terror.
Sure. It's okay. It's fine.
It is fine. It is okay. So you may think. Many have journeyed there. Few have returned. In the name of Yog and Cthulhu and Sarnath, you must now enter.
Tony, no.
when it's late at night. The doctors and the TV crew give them a fright. The movies are cheesy and so's the host. Look out, honey, here's 13 ghosts. And Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater. Bill the Monster, Eater. And Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater. Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater, please, come on. Dearest.
Well, we're at the convention and we're with Liv. Now, Liv, how did you get into this industry? We all know you're a model and you do B-movies. I mean, how did you get into it?
Well, basically, I wanted to get into it because I wanted to go around the whole Hollywood route of getting into acting and being in movies. So I kind of just started going to conventions, making connections, and got into it through that.
I mean, what got you interested? Did you like the movies, film industry, or just the modeling?
I think, well, I always liked the modeling, the horror movies, so doing the B movies just came kind of natural.
Yeah, I never asked this to anybody. What was your favorite horror movie? I mean, what inspired you to get into this industry?
I don't think I had like a particular favorite one at the time. No, I mean, I just liked a bunch of them.
And I noticed you've been in a lot of magazines. What's the magazines you've been in?
Well, some of them are various little ones like Flick and Gothic Beauty. Then there's like some more industry ones, like I'll be in, I believe, the next issue of Femme Fatale. So yeah.
And what's the future for this beauty?
My next thing is making my own B movies now, so yeah, and of course more of other people's projects too. Never quit that.
Well, thank you very much, Liz.
Thank you.
And back to you, Jay. Hello, we're in a convention and we're with
Caligula.
And
From Planet of the Vamps.
And what type of industry are you in?
The website, porn industry.
Is it very does it make a lot of money?
Sometimes the conventions make money more than anything. Selling pictures, and I do my dolls too, the Doomsday dolls.
And how did you get into this?
Just going to conventions and seeing other girls doing it and knowing that I could do it too, so. And having willing girls that would do it for free, so.
And I want to ask you, how did you get into, what got you impressed by this?
And old burlesque, you know, Betty Page and all the old burlesque girls.
And did you do any burlesque?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I'm doing a show with Dita Von Teese, so I do lots of different things. So take a look.
And where are you from?
I'm from London.
And well, thank you very much. And
Thank you.
we're at the convention and we're with
Tanya Dempsey. Hi.
And I noticed you've done B movies. I mean, how is it to do B movies?
You know, it really depends on who you're working with. J.R. Bookwalter of Tempe Entertainment and Full Moon, they've been really, really good to me. So I really enjoy working.
And how did you get into this industry?
You know, I sort of fell into the horror movie genre. I didn't really mean to. It just sort of happened that way. My first film I ever did was Shrieker. It's been on Sci-Fi Channel as Shriek as well. And from there, I just started getting some offers, and I've sort of developed a following from my website, and now I'm here. The fans like this stuff, so.
Yeah, I noticed you're a model too. What's the concept of doing modeling and acting? Does one conflict the other, or?
No, they seem to go hand in hand at times, don't they? I mean, it really depends on. I've done modeling for different projects, but my passion really is in acting, so that's what I'll always want to do.
And are we going to be seeing you in bigger movies in the future?
Oh, absolutely. Just wait. You should check out my website. It's my name, TanyaDempsey.com, and you can hear all the news and everything I'm up to.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Pleasure meeting you.
And back to you, Jay. We're at a convention. We're with Felicia, who does B movies.
Yes, I do. Horror movies. I started out doing sleepaway camp.
And how did you get into the industry?
You know what? I always wanted to be an actress since I was little, and I got a manager, and they set me up with this film, and ever since, that's what I've been doing.
And is there frightening moments when you do these movies? I mean, did you get like butterflies in your stomach and no, I won't do it, or did you just go through it?
You know what? They're not as scary. When you're making them, you see the blood, you see the effects, so it doesn't scare me. But sometimes when I watch other films, I get really scared. So I'm a little chicken.
And did you have a favorite horror movie besides?
I love The Shining. I love The Exorcist. I love Sleepaway Camp. I have to say that.
Well, yeah, but it's a fast promotion of yourself, but that's okay. But I mean, what's the future looks for Felicia?
Well, I just did 5 new horror films that are coming out soon, and meeting people at these conventions is always awesome. So I'm having a great time.
Well, thank you very much, and back to you, Jay. We're at the collectibles, and we're with Santel, and I noticed you're a model. I mean, how long have you been modeling?
For about a few years now, about 3 years. I really enjoy it.
And what do you model? I mean, what companies do you model for?
I've worked for like Diesel. I've worked for XOXO. I'm represented by Wilhelmina in Los Angeles. I've done a lot of like legs and feet, believe it or not. And I'm like the legs and feet of Nordstrom and Neiman Marcus, Marshall Fields here in Chicago. So that kind of stuff.
And how did you get into modeling? I mean, how did you choose that type of career?
Actually, I was in college, and I was approached at a hair salon, and that's kind of how I started out. I really didn't have intentions to do that. I majored in philosophy and religion, and so it kind of it's a far cry from the modeling world.
Thank you very much, and back to you, Jay. I notice you're a model and a movie star. What do you like the best? I mean, I just want to ask that. What do you like the best, modeling or the acting aspect?
Well, actually, I haven't been a model in a long time. I've been an actress for a long time as well, and I'm also into producing now. So I've loved being an actor because I'm mainly known for the action roles that I've played, like Battle Beyond the Stars, or Amazon Women on the Moon, Jungle Warriors, The Howling 2. I'm always playing the warrior queen, the action queen of something, and I really enjoy that, and my fans love that. And I have also produced one big action movie, which was called LA Bounty, where I play a bounty hunter. And I enjoyed playing that as well because I think there are a lot more women out there that are much better at being very romantic and doing love stories. I've always been very good at doing action, and I enjoy that. And even now, I'm going to produce, and the producing that I do will be action movies.
I mean, how did you get into action movies? I mean, why of all that genre? I understand you enjoyed it, but why of all the genres of movies, why is it that one?
Actually, you know, I started out in the business playing very sexy roles, and I had a wonderful manager who one day said to me, he said, you know, there are women that can do sexy roles, and there are very few women that can be sexy, beautiful, intelligent, and do action. And he said, if you have all that combination, then you can do very well at that. And you have that. You have that inner strength that it takes to be an action star because the camera doesn't lie. So if you're not good at it, then you're going to run around looking like your gun is a blow dryer instead of a gun. So he said, you know, you should get into action roles. And he looked for action roles for me, and I started turning down other roles. And when I started doing that, actually what I did, and I'm very proud of that, I paved the way for many other women today, like Charlie's Angels. There are a lot of movies out there today that the studios are doing where there are very strong action figures in it that are basically doing what I did. I was ahead of my time, only when I was doing them, the studios weren't doing them yet. They were so-called B movies, like Roger Corman's movies, where I did Battle Beyond the Stars, where I played the only woman warrior that went along with all the men and became the hero. She commits harakiri, and that was basically a remake of The Seven Magnificent, which was the wonderful, it was actually a Japanese movie, which was called The Magnificent Seven, and then Hollywood did a remake, and I played the role that Horst Buchholz played at that time, which was kind of the weaker character of all the men, but in Corman's movie it was the only woman that goes along with the men to fight and becomes the hero. So that was a wonderful movie that actually Warner Brothers had in the foreign, and I went all over the foreign, all over Europe to promote that movie. Roger Corman went to Asia and to Japan, and I promoted it in Europe, and that was one of the first big action movies that I did. And at that time, even though Warner Brothers had it in the foreign and Orion had it in the United States, but it was still kind of, because Roger Corman did it, who was the king and still is of the B movies, it was still a B movie. And the big studios weren't producing those movies. So today, you know, it's past my time to do that, because now in Hollywood they're getting and hiring all the ingenues to play those roles in big studio movies. But I love women like Angelina Jolie that, you know, really carries off those roles so well. And Sigourney Weaver in the Alien movies. And the movies that I produce, I'm going to also be in them, but I will also produce them for other women to play good, strong action roles.
Well, thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to shake your hand. And back to you, Jay. Collectibles, and we're with
June Wilkinson.
June, I noticed you've been a model and an actress. What do you like the most, modeling or acting?
No, I like acting the best. Modeling, I did it because it led to other things, but I always found modeling a little boring, to be honest with you. I much prefer acting.
And what movies did you do? I mean, what is your favorite movies and what's your least favorite movies?
Well, let me see. I like doing Twist All Night with Louis Prima because with Louis' band that was a lot of fun. Macumba Love was in Brazil. That was a great location. You see, I'm liking all the other things that I shouldn't. Have I done a movie that I think is really a good movie that is my favorite movie? No, I liked my stage stuff much better. I did Any Wednesday with Elaine Stritch and Tom Poston, and that was a really good show. I was on Broadway with Pajama Tops, which was a show that has been very successful for me and an audience pleaser, so that was always fun. But right now I'm producing. I got a show on Encore called The Directors, which won a lot of awards, so I've run the gamut, and I like producing. That's fun.
And who's your favorite leading man of all time?
My favorite leading man? That's difficult. I don't know. I think my favorite leading lady was definitely Elaine Stritch, but leading man, that's a hard one. I did, everybody thinks it would be Louis Jourdan because he's French and, you know, but I think I had more fun with Tom Poston. He was a laugh a minute. Avery Schreiber was a lot of fun. John Agar was interesting. I mean, everybody was different and had their own little niche in my heart. Okay.
Oh, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And back to you, Jay. Yes, we're here in Milwaukee at Gen Con, and we're with Glory Ann Gilbert. How you doing, Glory Ann Gilbert?
I'm doing fantastic. It's great to be back here in Milwaukee.
And since you've been, what have you been doing over the years?
Well, I started modeling when I was 13 years old, and since then I've also gone into doing B movies and spokesmodel stuff.
And what do you enjoy more? Do you enjoy modeling or doing the movies?
I enjoy doing the movies. Modeling is like, usually like what they do is they put the model in position and then they set everything else around you. So like you're like in some impossible, whenever you're like in a really tough position, that's when you like have to hold it for like 30 minutes while they get everything else set up. So I think that doing movies is just more fun because you get to be more active. I'm like a hyper type person. But I think the most fun thing that I have is when I go to the conventions because I get to meet all of my fans. You know, I have a fan club and a website. But when you get to meet your fans in person, that's exciting. I had a guy yesterday that came up to me and I didn't recognize him. I usually recognize my fans. And he said, well, the reason you probably don't recognize me is because you totally inspired me. I lost 45 pounds. And so he said that I totally changed his life because he had said he'd been having like heart troubles and he was feeling worn out. And so I said, well, why don't you just start, you know what I mean? It's not what you look on the outside, it's how you are on the inside that I think counts. But, you know, if it's going to make you feel healthier, you should do that. So he said I totally changed his life. He's like the happiest he's ever been. So it was exciting.
And what do you have any projects in the future that you're going to be doing?
Well, I'm just expanding my website, so I'm excited about that, and I'm doing emails and answering back with my fans that way. And then I've just finished filming like 3 movies, and I have 4 more that I'm filming before the end of the year. So I've been doing a lot more horror movies and, you know, bikini car wash movies and stuff like that.
And what do you want to say to the people out in the audience?
The people out in the audience, this is the largest gaming convention in the United States, and it totally rocks. I do a lot of comic book conventions, and this is so much fun because you get to see, like, I'm always dressed up in some little outfit, but there's, like, everyone here. It's almost like a Halloween in the middle of summertime because people are in all these different costumes and outfits. It's fun.
And what other events you'll be doing in the future?
I'm going to be I do quite a few appearances in Chicago over the next month. And then I'm going to be busy filming some movies out in L.A.
All righty. Well, thank you very much, and back to you, Jay. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we're with the one and only actress of all times, Brink Stevens. And Brink, you know, I interviewed you a long time ago before, like 1998, around there. And the one question I want to do is always an in-depth interview with you is that And if somebody was to ask you how to get into this industry or anything, how would you tell them?
Oh, well, now it's so much easier than it was before because thanks to the Blair Witch Project, it's really democratized filmmaking, and anybody with a video camera can shoot movies, and pretty much everybody is. I would say if you're a pretty girl or a guy that wants to act, make sure that you know your craft, you've studied it, and hang out on movie sets, learn what to do, get an agent, and just go in, go for it.
And can you talk about some of your movies, the ones with Roger Corman to the present?
I started out about 20 years ago with a Roger Corman movie called Slumber Party Massacre, and then that was the early 80s when the whole slasher craze was real strong, teens in terror. And then about the mid to late 80s, I became known as the Scream Queen because I was doing a lot of low-budget horror movies for Full Moon and Fred Olin Ray. Then everything kind of crashed in the mid-90s, and I got into other things. I started producing and writing my own comic book, writing scripts. I worked for Weird Tales magazine, and now there's suddenly been a new renaissance in films again. So a lot of the stuff I've done has been shot on digital video lately. I've done 2 movies for Full Moon this year, and a couple movies for Fred Olin Ray. Concord Pictures is re-releasing Slumber Party Massacre after 20 years. I'm really excited about that.
Well, and what is the future looks for you? I mean, what do you hope to do?
I think I'm going to get more into the production side of things. I've already co-produced Shock Cinema, which is a documentary about the horror industry. And I'm co-producing my first movie called Buried Nightmares. It started out as an unofficial sequel to Haunting Fear, which is my personal favorite movie. But it kind of stands on its own now. It's taken on a life of its own and evolved into something. But I'm co-producing that, and I co-wrote 3 new scripts this year, which are being considered for production. And just doing lots of writing and enjoying my life. You know, it's fun to do different things.
Well, and I'm glad to interview one of the greatest actresses of all time, Brink Stevens. Back to you, Jay.
Before I came to Hollywood and became a scream queen, I was a teenager living in San Diego named Charlene. While I was going to college studying marine biology, I was also going to a lot of fantasy, science fiction, and comic book conventions. In fact, every year at the San Diego Comic Convention, I would do a dance on stage for the masquerade. You're about to see some very rare footage dating back 10 to 15 years of some of these dances that I did for the San Diego Comic Convention. There's also some closed-circuit TV programming from the same conventions. So let's go back in time now to the late 70s, early 80s, to my earliest roots in San Diego.
Pandora comes the day, as she dances and she dances, you find hope and lose yourself again. She never stays the same, she changes moods like summer thunder, cellular, the sunlight through the rain. And when she laughs, you see danger, she can be cold like a stranger, and you can try but you won't change her anyway. And I can see how she makes it, it's a game until you take it, it's a spell until you break it, she may stay, lose yourself again. Pandora comes the day, the warning signs flash in her eyes, the old familiar feelings rise again. The pleasure and the pain, I like 2 colors run together, still you can't go on too long this way. If it's a game, you can win it, I don't know why you stay in it, you could leave her any minute, any day. It should be easy
Resin Heads, and we're with...
Nikki Fritz, NikkiFritz.com.
And how did you get in the movie industry?
Roger Corman got me into it a few years ago. He gave me my first start in a movie called Dinosaur Island, and since then I've done over 73 films. I've been on big movies like the movie Go. I was the stripper in Go. I have been on Beverly Hills 90210. I have my own series on Cinemax right now called Nightcap. It's been airing all summer long. It's my series. So, you know, Roger Corman gave me a really nice start. It's a sexy start, but it's a nice start.
I mean, and besides that, I mean, did you start in like theater and got into films, or television into films, or?
Well, I've been acting all of my life, so I've taken theater all through junior high school and up. But pretty much now I don't have time for theater anymore, so I'm pretty much just do, you know, a lot of low-budget films. I did one called The Bear Wench Project, and, you know, just do films like that. Theater, don't have time anymore, but I definitely come from a theater background. I've studied with Howard Fine, which is one of the top coaches in Los Angeles. He's the coach for Brad Pitt and Heather Locklear and Gary Shandling and things like that, so I've had a lot of professional training.
And of all the movies you make, what was the one that stuck out the most? I mean, the one that you enjoyed doing?
God, there's been a couple of them. I don't know. There's been so many that I've liked. Bear Wench Project, because it's such a spoof off of Blair Witch, done Roger Corman style, with a lot of T and a lot of A. So that's probably the most fun because it wasn't an actual script. They put 4 girls out in the middle of a camping trip and they filmed it. And it was all improv. Everything that happened really happened. I mean, all the stuff that we got into really happened, and that was probably the most fun.
I noticed you were in Attack of the 60-Foot Centerfold. I mean, and you were the nemesis for J.J. North. Now, how is it to work with J.J. North?
Well, J.J.'s one of my closest friends. I mean, even though she's left the B world, she's gone on to bigger and better things. She's doing Crest commercials and stuff now. So she's quit doing the B's and everything, but she's one of my closest friends. We talk, you know, a couple times a month. We had a website together called RealDeviate.com that pretty much doesn't exist anymore, but it was J.J. North and I and all of our friends and headshots and resumes. So we go way back as business partners and as friends. So she's dearly missed in the B-movie world.
And what's the future looks for Nikki?
It's looking well. I've got a pilot coming up with Aaron Spelling that they're considering me now. Knock on wood, I haven't just blown it by jinxing it, but you know, I'm in consideration for one of their pilots, so things are doing well. I've done a lot of little work for some of the big companies, and they're starting to notice me now, so hopefully it'll work out. Plus, I do a lot of website design, so NikkiFritz.com is completely designed and run by me. Bear Wench is run by me. There's a lot of people who have come to me to do their movies or low-budget films, star in them, and then build a website around the movies. So that's kind of a niche for me right now. So a lot of the movies you see me in, look for the website. I'm building that as well.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And back to you, Jay.
Two giant women. We need backup immediately. I don't know how tall they are. They are giants. Hello? Hello? All right, then, slight problem. I don't think they believe me. Hello.
And Vanessa Ross.
And Derek Zemrak. Now, I noticed you've done some independent movies. I mean, with these gorgeous ladies and everything. You know, I mean, how is it to work with gorgeous ladies and making a movie?
Well, I'm just wondering how I keep staying married. I don't know.
My wife is like, yeah, exactly. No, it's great. I mean, these girls are, great actors and a lot of fun and a lot of, everyone says, how can you be on the set with all these girls in thong bikinis and running around half naked all the time? And it's like, well, it's just part of the job, I guess. So it's kind of the movies I write, so I gotta produce them, right?
Well, how do you get the idea of making movies like this?
A sick mind. No, I mean, I just come up with the concept. I mean, this is about an all-female planet that the U.S. government discovers. So they send up a crew of astronauts up there, and the girls live off silicone, and they don't eat food, and they wear thong bikinis, and that's the gist of it.
And how did you guys get approached to doing this type of movie?
Well, I actually have a website, and I was approached by somebody that was in the movie with Derek and asked me if I wanted to do it, and I said sure. So I showed up, filmed my scenes, and there I am.
And how about you?
I got called from my agent, and I went down, did my thing, and then I got involved with it, shot my scenes, same thing. Yeah, it was lots of fun.
I know, are you guys from, are you from the Hollywood area, or?
I'm from Seattle.
And I'm from Santa Monica, LA.
Well, and then what's the movie, basically what's it about? I mean, besides...
It's actually a 1950s sci-fi spoof. It kind of spoofs on the old 1950 movies. I mean, you interviewed Conrad Brooks earlier, where Ed Wood used, you could see the strings of the paper. Well, we used real CGI, but real cheesy CGI to make fun of those type of movies, so.
Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and